Good morning. In this lecture, we discuss the evolution of data warehouse, what is a data warehouse, uses of data warehouse. We also discuss how data warehouse technology is currently used in industry. And finally, we conclude this lecture by discussing different types of data warehouses and also a roadmap to data warehousing. You must have used databases in different walks of life. Databases make life easier and simpler. Railway reservations, hotel reservations, student records in a university system with which all of us are familiar. We do not have to stand in long queues, and the reservations clerk doesn't have to fiddle with many files and fill up several forms. Different organizations of the governments also uses databases in a big way. Tax records, crime records, passports, etc. are examples for database systems. All big corporate houses also use databases in managing their day-to-day functioning in human resource development, accounts, sales, etc. Database technology has evolved from primitive file systems to advanced data warehousing and data mining in a span of about 40 years. What is data warehousing? Data warehousing is a process of transforming data into information and making it available to users in a timely enough manner to make a difference. You all know that whether you use database system or data warehouse system, providing right information at the right cost for the right user at the right time is important. So whatever the transformation of data we do to form an information, that information must be available at the right time. So that means to say you are transforming data into information, which requires some kind of process. So the process of building such a warehouse is known as data warehousing. Data warehouses store large volumes of data which are very frequently used by decision support system. A decision support system is a system which is used by high-level executives to make decisions in the interest of their organization, either for improvement of the revenue or improvement of the product quality, whatever it may be. Data warehouse is maintained separately from the organization's operational databases. It means it doesn't affect the day-to-day operations of the database. Separately means what? Here you are not disturbing the regular work of the day-to-day system. So whatever the data daily used for managing their day-to-day operations in an environment or in an organization, that organization doesn't change or affect the performance of the day-to-day operations. In the sense that data warehouses are relatively static with only infrequent updates. The meaning of infrequent updates is that whatever the data is available in the data warehouse, that is only read-only data. You are not going to update a record in a data warehouse. The reason is it is used only for decision-making purpose. We are not managing a day-to-day operational data here. We are managing the business. Managing business is different than managing the day-to-day system. A data warehouse is a standalone repository of information integrated from several possibly heterogeneous operational databases. Again, Standalone repository means central database, data warehouse. Central data warehouse is known as a standalone repository. How this repository is built? This repository is developed by integrating data from several heterogeneous operational databases. So that means what? In operational databases, we have some data. Now we are combining all the operational data of all these sources into a central place. So that is called integration. So it is a standalone repository of information integrated from several possibly heterogeneous operational databases. Data warehouse is the enabling technology that facilitates improved business decision making, in the sense that this is a technology used for taking effective decisions by decision makers, improving the wealth of the organization. And whatever the decisions the decision makers takes, they are not intuitive, they are well informed by the system. So it triggers, data warehouse technology, it enables to take well informed decisions by decision makers. So in view of all this, we can say that data warehouse is not a product which you can readily buy, right? It is a process that is suitable to manage your business or your set of businesses. You have to identify what processes are required. Then you should systematically develop a process to build a data warehouse for your organization. That is the reason why it is considered as a process but not a product. In a way, we can also say that data warehouse is a technique for assembling and managing a wide variety of data from multiple operational systems for decision support and analytical processing. Already we have seen this point in the previous slide. It enables the decision makers to take a decision, which is a part of DSS, right? So decision support and analytical processing is easy if you have a data warehouse. So it is a journey, it is not a destination. In the sense that you have to perform so many activities in order to reach a destination. So that's why all these processes are to be systematically developed by using the technology and techniques that are associated with the data warehousing. Now we discuss the evolution of data warehouses, how data warehouse was evolved. Broad evolution of data warehouse is shown here, beginning with data collection and database creation in 1960, followed by database management system in 1970s. Then we can see advanced database systems in mid-80s, data warehousing, data mining, OLAP, knowledge discovery, web-based DBMS, extensible markup language, XML, web mining, etc. And then all of these three being integrated into a new generation of integrated information system. In this lecture, we will talk about data collection and database creation, database management systems, data warehousing and data mining, advanced database systems, data mining and web-based data mining. We shall not be studying in this course. First topic, data collection and database creation. You all know that file systems, as you can see, the field of data collection and database creation in fact started with file systems during late 60s. What are typical applications? Typical applications include payrolls, utility bills, 10th class and intermediate examination results in Andhra Pradesh. All of these applications have common characteristics. What are the common characteristics? One of the most common characteristic is a batch application. Batch requirements. All that means we have data which is generated over an interval of time, and based on that you are preparing some reports like payrolls. So you have a set of employees, and then every month you generate their pay slips. Is also a batch. That means once in a month only you generate pay slip. So the requirement is a batch requirement. Now these applications do not generally respond to any queries. It only generates some desired reports. These reports are very rigid in their format, and they have one user and one application. During 60s, such kind of reports were generated using a business oriented language called COBOL. When you see the systems here, file systems, reporting system of primitive type. That means what? We can say that a file system is a reporting system of primitive type in the nature, in the sense that it only provides a formatted report, and also the report structure is fixed and it is unable to integrate different files. It's one of the limitation is a non-aggregated, rigid in their approach. What is the meaning of this? Rigid means the format is fixed, file organization is fixed, structure is fixed, everything is fixed. So in whatever way you have developed, in the same way you can see your report. And also you cannot find average salary of computer science department faculty. When you have developed an application only to print a payslip for each employee in the form of a batch application, then non-aggregated report is possible, but aggregated report you cannot get it. So that is a limitation of the file system. In a nutshell, file systems always constrained to single view of data, and also there is a one-to-one correspondence exists between the file, operations on a file, and the organization of the file and the data. So because of these reasons, the applications are very limited here, which belong to the category of batch oriented applications. Coming to the database management systems, which were developed between 70s and early 80s. Typical applications related to DBMS are airline reservation system, bank account system, hotel room booking system, sales in a supermarket system. Now in this system, typically some actions take place and action is being reflected in the database through transaction processing system. They are also generally referred to OLTP systems, online transaction processing system. If you see the advantages, Haddock queries is one of the most important activity which you can do. Haddock queries here means a user can post one query at a time and get response from the database at one time, and another user can pose another query. Also, you can find out your bank balance, etc. So these systems are not rigid and can respond to varying requirements, which is not possible in the case of file systems. Of course, they are user friendly. A user can interact with the system in a very user friendly language. The queries can be put in a language which is very closer to natural language like English. You must have used SQL. So generally The system use SQL like select from where clause. So typical users of this system do not require a user to learn syntax, etc. Very little training would be required to use a database management system. These systems also can respond to several users or applications. For example, if you take airline reservation system, several users and several applications are part of the airline reservation system. Any travel agent can book a ticket for a flight, or you can cancel your reservation, or the airlines personnel can do the thing, anything on the data, anything in the sense, the total berths available, total number of cancellation a day, all these things you can query it and then view the answers. So typically, these systems are very flexible. They allow several users, several applications at the same time. This brings in lot of problems like concurrency control, security, etc. But these are the requirements that any organization requires in its day-to-day functioning. Online requirement means here that the action is stored or given an effect in the database at that time that action takes place, like an airline reservation. You go to your travel agent, you ask for a ticket, the travel agent books the ticket for you, and that point in time the seat is booked for you, and if it is a last seat in the plane, then no other person would get it. So online meaning that it would not generate at periodic intervals, it would be instantaneous and would be given effective at the point the action is taking place. So they are generally prepared using packages like Oracle, DB2, SQL Server, Sybase, etc. Typical examples of OLTP systems or databases include general ledger, accounts payable, financial management system, order processing, order entry, inventory management, etc. In fact, there are so many applications of these, they become a daily need of any organization. However, the OLTP or databases generally do not generate reports. They are only related to day-to-day functions of an organization. Now, for different needs of the organization, many different types of reports are needed. Now, if an action is taking place, like sales of airline ticket or sales of an item, database management system respond adequately in a responsible manner to a user. What are the problems with the current reporting structures? As far as the DBMS is concerned, there would be many things for which accessibility, timeliness, format and integration would really be critical for dealing with management decisions. So, can I get information when I need it? That's the question. See, how is this particular product doing in a certain region? Can you get this data timely? So, timeliness is very important. Access depends upon normally the information available from different sources. Databases generally take one data source at one time. But for an organization, there are different sources, and for management decision, one would probably may require to access different sources. So you need to integrate these different sources. Without integration, if you want to access, it generally takes more time. Right? So decision makers requires timely data. That's why access must be very fast. That is the reason why data needs to be integrated from different sources. Then second point, timeliness. As I said before, that it may be possible to get certain information from the database through normal SQL. But for that, you may have to write a different program or a query, which may not be optimized or which may take some time, which you may not be able to afford. So you would like your information as fast as possible or within a limited amount of time. So how long after transactions occur do I get some information? How long does it take to generate a report? So that time needs to be estimated. Then format. Management generally may like to see reports in different types of formats like pie chart, histogram, tabular structure, etc. So can you get a report in SQL of this kind? It is not possible. Only one kind of report, output is always a table. OLTP would normally generate results or outputs to a query in a tabular structure. So it may not sometimes give clear picture of what the management wants. So what kind of reports can I get in addition to traditional paper reports? Can I also use my data in spreadsheet, graphs, maps, or other analytical tools? So databases fail to get such kind of reports and graphs, etc. Then integration. As I said before, that for an organization, the operational data may be spread across different databases. So it will be difficult to generate reports using all of those from one single database source. That is the reason why we need to integrate all the sources into a single database. So these are the problems that we recognize that normally manifest in OLTP and DBMS. These are the problems that our data warehouse is going to address itself. So in late 80s, to overcome these problems, Inman, who is the father of data warehouse, coined the concept of data warehousing and formally defined what is a data warehouse by identifying different qualities that are essential to build a data warehouse. So the field began in late 80s, data warehousing and OLAP technology, data mining and knowledge discovery, which is currently a very hot field. Generally, this technology also referred to as business intelligence. Now they are related to strategic business requirement. They do not deal with end user or an action taking place, but relate to the needs of the organizations for effective business decisions and management decisions as to how is particular product doing, whether to launch a new product in the market or whether to introduce a new flight, things like that. In business intelligence, we are really using the entire history of organization. Typical applications of data warehouses are sales per item per branch of a retail chain store, sales per item per month, rainfall in a particular month, spanning over a period of time in a state, revenue collection of a particular category spanning over a period, etc. These applications do not get to action being taken place. It is an aggregation activity based on the previous history, which one would like to use for better production, better management, or for taking strategic decisions. This requires a blend of different processes, which we call as hardware and software related activities, and some business knowledge is also needed. System integration skills are required. Then incrementally, in an evolutionary manner, you should build the data warehouse. So if you observe the slide, there are different production databases are considered as different sources. They are all integrated for solving a particular business intelligence problem. We are collecting the data from all these sources, and then prior to building a repository, in between we are doing some processing, which we call that area as a staging area. This staging area basically helps to clean the data, and then once the data warehouse is built, the data that is available in a data warehouse is ready for users. Users can run the applications on this data warehouse. So as I mentioned earlier, it is an environment and it requires a lot of infrastructure, and we can also say that data warehouse can act as an information provider. Information provider in the sense like utilities, right? electricity is an utility. We are all using electricity. Similarly, gas agency is an utility. In a similar way, data warehouse is an information utility, right? So it is not off-the-shelf product, and it is not a single project. You require a lot of commitment, resources, and manpower. All these things are essential to build a data warehouse. Now let us take one or two quick questions before giving the definition of a data warehouse.
Sir, my question is that traditional databases like Oracle provides various report generating tools, for example cubes, OLAP, etc. Then what the special purpose does these data warehouses serve?
Okay, it's a good question. So the question, I repeat once again for the benefit of other students. In most of the commercial databases which are currently available today are already equipped with OLAP functionality and cube building facilities. Then what is the use of this data warehouse? So to answer your question, first of all, I should say that the data warehouse is a middle layer between the analysis and the databases. OLAP tool is an analytical tool. Data cube building is a technique used in OLAP tool. So whatever the cube you are building, that cube is derived from the data warehouse only. It requires a lot of commitment, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of resources. So we are not going to repeat all such things. We are building a centralized repository structure which we call as a data warehouse, so that whatever the analysis each type of user wants to do, either in the form of a data cube or in the form of OLAP analysis or for multidimensional processing, etc., we use this data warehouse. So as I said, data warehouse doesn't provide any analysis. Data warehouse only prepares the data which is readily usable for analysis. Right? So in that sense, data warehouse is a process. Using OLAP tool, a lot of analytical results you can compute and get it. But where is the data? All the historical data is maintained and managed by the data warehouse. Is it clear? Okay. So if there are no questions, we will continue the discussion on the next topic. Data warehouse is associated with 4 properties. They are subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile collection of data in support of management to make effective decisions. So what is subject oriented? Here the data to the data warehouse can come either from some internal data sources or from external data source. Normally in databases, data is stored as data values, which are nothing but just a set of values, and does not really have any meaning or a value to anybody. It is just storing a particular set values inside a database. Here when we do extraction, extracting value means here some meaning can be extracted on the data that is stored. It is not the data value, meaning is extracted. Which product that is sold maximum? How is the product going? Is this product doing better than other product? How are you comparing yourself with your competitor, etc., are the general business questions posed by the decision makers. Now these are some meaningful things that depend upon data. Now in the case of subject oriented, as I mentioned, the data is organized around major subjects such as customer, supplier, product, time and sales. This is mainly focused on the modeling and analysis of data for decision making. It provides simple and concise view on a particular subject issue by excluding unwanted data for support of making decisions. Decision maker doesn't require all the data that is available in the database. He requires some meaningful information from the database. So such data only, to extract such meaningful data, meaningful information, we need some data. We extract only such data and then we put it in the data warehouse. For example, there are three different kinds of systems here: retail sales system, outlet sales system, and catalog sales system. Say, sales is a subject area here. So in order to get a meaningful information about sales, you need data related to sales. So all the sales data related to retail sales system, outlet sales system, catalog sales system data is integrated under one subject heading called sales subject area. So this gives ultimately subject oriented sales information is stored in the warehouse, not the other information. Other information is deleted. Unwanted data, we don't put it in the data warehouse. We put only the subject specific information. That is called subject oriented. So in the sense that data is categorized and stored by a business subject rather than by application. In the case of databases, data is always designed and stored as per the requirements of your application, not the business subjects. But whereas in the data warehousing, we always categorize the data by taking business subject rather than the application. For example, if you see the slide, there are different kinds of applications: savings, shares application, loans application, equity plan application, insurance application, etc. They are all operational systems. So if you observe here, one typical subject area for the data warehouse is a customer financial information. So the subject area is customer financial information. I am deriving, in order to answer business questions related to the prospective customers who are financially sound. How do I identify? I need to get all his commitments and all kinds of data that is scattered across different sources about the customers. I need to combine, and then I need to store in one specific subject area. So that's why here customer financial information is a specific subject area. So internal data sources could be different databases like sales data accounting, HR, it could be others also. So each of different department of an organization could be maintaining its own database, and periodically it could be sending its data to be stored in the data warehouse. As long as it is in the database, then it is responding to the database needs, like any action taking place within the organization. Any sales, any promotion, or anything like an action taking place is reflected in the database. Whereas external sources means sources like demographic information regarding your suppliers, which we may collect from yellow files or yellow pages or customer lists. It could be weather data. There could be several other external files also. So in data warehousing, we integrate these subject areas into a single structure. That is called a data warehouse. Now, subject areas are nothing but business area. In industry, they call these as business areas within an organization. So typical subject areas are shown on the slide: customer accounts, product sales, customer savings, toll call usage, passenger booking, insurance claims, etc. whatnot. You can have any kind of historical data pertaining to your analysis. You can consider different subject areas. So whenever you develop a model using these subject areas, the model always contains measures and some analytical conditions. So here one customer financial information is one subject area. So what is subject oriented? So if you observe the slide, there are two different comparisons given by taking the process oriented and subject oriented. Sales representative is denoted as sales rep, quantity sold, product number, date, customer name, product description, unit price, mail address. All these things may have used in your process oriented information, but all this data you are grouping all the data related to sales into sales subject area. All the data related to customers is a customer subject area. All the data related to products is a product subject area. So from the data warehousing point of view, subject headings are taken into account, not the individual data elements. Right? So here grouping is different. Here all are grouped into a single structure. But whereas here we are dividing into different subject headings. Then second point, integrated. A data warehouse brings together data from various sources and makes it available to users eager to create their own reports. That means they are readily available. User only should file a request and then get the report. What kind of report? It is not a simple report. It is a highly complex aggregated report. So here if you observe, there are different kinds of reports and analysis you can do once the data is integrated. So the sources are, it can be either external source or internal source data, then they are all combined, and then once they is combined and kept at central repository, then you can create your own reports. So what is integrated here? So integrated means data on a given subject is defined and stored only once. For example, if you observe the slide, in an operational environment, we have three different kinds of applications: savings application, current accounts application, loans application. They are all designed by taking the application requirements into account. But in the data warehouse, there is no application flavor. The only requirement is subject requirements. So the subject requirement is customer. So from the customer point of view, all are integrated. The data related to customer in savings application, the data owned by the customers related to current accounts application, loans application, everything is combined and then placed here. That is called integrated. Then when we integrate, you may come across different kinds of issues here. One type of problem can be encoding, because different sources, different databases may define sex in different ways. In one application A, they define as M or F. In another application, it is stored as a number with 1 or 0. 1 means male, 0 means female. And in another application, you may define X or Y. Similarly, unit of attributes. In application A, pipeline attribute is stored in centimeters. And for the same attribute, the unit is represented in inches in B. Similarly, another unit in C, say. Then physical attributes. Balance is an attribute, example for physical attribute. In application A, it is stored as decimal with 13 digits, 2 decimal places. And in another application, we define a picture class. PIC stands for here. Picture class in COBOL, we use picture class. 9 of 9, V is nothing but decimal here, right? Then in application C, float type is used. So like that, we have different kinds of physical attributes defined with different types. Similarly, conventions for naming. Somebody may define the balance attribute as BALANCE balance in C, current underscore balance, BAL on hand in application A, say. But they are all referred to balance attribute only. Right? So when we integrate the data, you have to define a common type. But the data stored in your sources are different in type. So therefore, you need to transform the data the way you want to put it in your data warehouse. So that means what? You need to apply some kind of transformation methods to convert the desired format of data for your analysis. Because sources are designed by different people, different organizations, maybe in different packages. They may be same, so heterogeneous type or homogeneous type, whatever it may be. But ultimately, you should be able to define into a single type. That means we need to write your own conversion functions here. So what are the different kinds of problems which we can see when we integrate the data? One set of consistent, accurate, quality information we are producing by building a data warehouse. So consistent, accurate, quality information. If quality of the data is not maintained properly, nobody is going to use your data warehouse. And whatever the analytical results you get from the quality from the data warehouse may not be good if the quality of the information is not maintained. So therefore, we need to standardize by proper naming conventions, by using proper coding structures, by defining data attributes, and also by defining measures appropriately. So all these things requires some kind of commitment from the people, processes and infrastructure. They are all required. So we need to apply some kind of process called cleaning and integration process. This is basically used to fix the inconsistencies. Fixing inconsistency means what? Whenever you have a problem, you resolve it by overcoming the inconsistency using some transformation. That is called fixing of the consistency. That means identification of inconsistency as well as repair of the inconsistency. Both are part of the fixing. So it requires a lot of resources and needs commitment. So what are the different kinds of data integrity problems you can see? For example, same person with different spellings. Do you want to consider all these people are different or same? If it is same, you have to fix. Oh, there are some mistakes, editing mistakes, typing errors, etc. If they are different, then you are treating that as different customers. Right? So you have to resolve it. Multiple ways to denote a company name. Right? There is also another problem. Use of different names for city values. Different account numbers generated by different applications for the same customer. Customer is same, but account IDs may be different. Different account numbers for the same customer is generated internally by the applications. Some important fields that are required for your analysis may be filled with no value at all. Null values. Then do you want to take that null value into your warehouse? Or do you want to fill the value and then put the more appropriate and more suitable value for your analysis? So that is also needs to be resolved here in this phase. Then invalid product codes collected at a point of sale. Some product codes while collecting manually you may commit mistakes and then product codes may be wrong. Okay. In case of a problem, we use a large number, undefined number we put it. All stars or nines or large big number we write. Right? So they are all, we can consider all of them as undefined later. So how it is constructed? Integrated means here it is not just combining, you are developing a source, a single source by integrating multiple heterogeneous sources. Multiple heterogeneous sources may be a relational database file or a flat file or a Excel sheet file or online transaction records, whatever it may be. So from different sources you are integrating into a single source. Data cleaning and data integration techniques are very much essential in building the data warehouse in order to ensure consistency in naming conventions encoding structures, attribute measures, and so on. So the slide shows another example with respect to our sales system. Retail sales, outlet sales, catalog sales systems. Here product codes are different, types are different. And in warehouse, you are developing a common code or mapping of the various source codes into a suitable code. So that is called integration of coding schemes. The next property is time variant. Data here is stored as a series of snapshots, each representing a period of time. Operational data usually covers a short period of time since most transactions involve latest data. Whereas a data warehouse should enable the analysis, that means it requires a few years of data or it covers a few years of data. That is the reason why data warehouses are regularly updated from operational data and keep on growing in size. Bulk updates, that's called bulk updates. Size wise, data warehouse grows over a period of time. Right? So in the sense, here coming to the databases, the latest data is always taken into account. You cannot ask in a bank what was my balance on 1st January 2010. You always ask what is my current balance. So current means what is the data available in the database at that point, that data is taken into account. So there is no way to keep the previous data related to your account. Because in database only one cell is there, amount. In that cell overrides the previous data with the current balance. So that's why that short period of time. Databases generally uses or covers a short period of time since most transactions involve latest data. This historical data basically helps to do the trend analysis or to forecast the results, or you can ask any kind of question you can answer. These are called what if questions. What if analysis or what if questions. Time element is part of database column here, in the sense that normally the data is stored with respect to time. There and every structure contains an element of time, either explicitly or implicitly in a data warehouse. But this is a common characteristic of most of the data warehouse system. We can create some data warehouse in which we have structure or an attribute other than time also. But this is not the case in the case of databases. So if you observe the slide, historical data is shown in the form of a data warehouse storage and current data in the case of transactional storage. So here sales, region, year to year, and first quarter, etc. So monthly, January, what are the sales? Region wise, year wise, and year 97. For each region here, in fact, eastern region, western region, northern region sales are shown here. But here, you always see current. What is my sales today, at this point, in this region? Right? So data are stored to provide information from historical perspective. For example, the past 5 years data or 10 years data or 15 years data is taken into account. Every key structure contains an element of time either explicitly or implicitly in a data warehouse, which I have already stated. So in OLTP application, if you say the latest time is taken into account, whereas in the warehouse past history snapshots are taken into account, and the sales or whatever the measures you are taking, those measures are calculated year wise or day wise and then stored in the warehouse.